What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today what I'm going to be doing is working on my LBZ Duramax here. What we're going to be doing is putting on some tie rods. These are D-Max store tie rods, and then their upper control arms as well. I want to get this truck ready for next show season, using it to tow around my 2020 and stuff like that. I had this truck for about a year now. It has higher miles on it, but it really hasn't given me any problems. But my front end, I want to continue building it. I basically have everything done, the idler, pitman arms, everything. The only thing left, like I said, is these tie rods and upper control arms. I know I haven't shown it on the channel a lot recently. It's probably been about a year since I had it on the channel, but I still have it, been daily driving it, and like I said, it's been working out great for me. So without further ado, let's go ahead here and get this tire off. And part of the reason too why I'm doing this is to kind of learn on how to do the upper control arms and the tie rods. It's really not a hard process, I would say, but before I tear into my 20, this is really my test meal, and that's why I love it. I can do anything I want to this and really not worry about it because it is an older truck with higher miles, and it's a good learning truck to learn how to do stuff on without, really messing it up. So when I get to my 20, I know exactly what to do. So without further ado, let's jack the side up, get the tire off, and then we'll start working on getting everything out. Get the tire off and the inner fender liner out. First thing that you want to do is to go ahead and disconnect your ABS line here. I already did that. As you can see, like how rusty and crappy these are. These were squeaking and I greased them and it wouldn't stop squeaking. That's part of the reason why I'm replacing it. The other reason is because in here, these cam bolts are actually stuck in the control arms, and last time I went to go get it aligned, they couldn't adjust it up and down the caster on the wheel. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, and also too just for the reliability aspect of it. I'm going to start with the tie rod here first. This is an 18mm. I'm just going to put my impact on here, spray some lube on it, and try to beat it out of here, out of the knuckle. Hopefully it comes out pretty easily, and then we'll work on getting the control arm out. So I take that back. The tie rod bolt is actually a 21mm. I'm not expecting this to come out too easy just because the truck has a ton of miles on it, but I'm going to bust the bolt off here, spray some lube on it, and then beat it out with a hammer, and hopefully it comes out. Alright, so I got the bolt busted free. I sprayed some lube on there. Let's try to beat this out of here. Now, normally that's probably not the case, but for whatever reason, that came out pretty easy. The other side came out easy as well. So now that we got the tie rod out, I'm going to work on getting the upper control arm out. These bolts are kind of pain in the butt, so what I'm going to do is put the 21 on this side, kind of rotate it, try to break it free back and forth, come over to this side, do the same thing. And hopefully these bolts come out easy. If not, an air hammer is going to be your best friend. I have one of those ready in case that's going to be a problem, but let's go ahead and bust these 21mm bolts off and try to get these bolts out. I forgot to mention too, there's these little caster pins inside there. You want to take a picture of those just so you have an idea on where they go, because you're going to need an alignment after this is done. And it's not meant to be like, oh, take a picture and line it back up perfectly and not get an alignment. It's just to get it close enough so you can go and drive to an alignment shop and get it done. If you guys don't have like a Firestone tire near you, that's who does my trucks. It's like $200 for a lifetime alignment. That's where I love taking mine to. I go once in the spring and once before winter, and I'm kind of due for my winter one, and that's kind of why I'm doing this all at the same time as well. So let me go ahead and get these out of here and work on getting the whole control arm out. I just tapped this one and it came out. One thing that you want to keep in mind is there are these guide pins here, or cam pins, or whatever they're called. You want to be careful not to knock those out, because over time they kind of get rusted in there, and they help guide this to align it properly. So be really careful not to knock on those or anything like that. And they kind of just come right out. This side's giving me more of a hassle. I'm going to try to wiggle this bolt here back and forth to get it out more, and then I'll loosen it from the ball joint here. On the other side, this is what really gave me a hassle. I had to put an air hammer on it from the bottom and beat it out. I tried a pickle fork, but it didn't work. If you're just replacing the ball joints, you want to kind of be more careful, but I'm replacing the whole assembly, so I don't really care. So I'm probably going to go ahead here, if it doesn't come out, and put the air hammer on the knuckle here and on the lower or in the upper ball joint on the bottom down here, and just beat the bolt up. So we'll see when we get to that point, but I'm going to work on getting this bolt out here now. Alright, so this one's pretty stuck in here. I have the air gun out here, so I'm just going to take this real quick and just punch it out. I'm going to put it on here. Luckily it's on this side. Over on this side there's not nearly as much room, so over here I should be able just to plow it right out with this air gun. So I'm going to go ahead right now, plow that out, and then we'll work on getting the upper ball joint disconnected right down here. As you can see, the air gun did the trick, got it out, so now I'm just going to take this, wiggle this out, and that'll be about it. Now, if you didn't have an air gun or an air hammer, that would probably be impossible to do. I realized on the other side that with this job, you're probably gonna need some type of air gun or air hammer, especially when you're dealing with higher mileage trucks. Stuff does not want to come out, especially where I'm at in the northeast. There's tons of rust, road salt, all that stuff. So over the course of 2006 until now, there's a ton of rust. So luckily I had that, got it out no problem, and made the job 10 times easier. Now we got the control arms out of their little brackets right there. And what I had to do was, this one was so seized in here, I had to take the air hammer on the bottom here and punch it up and get it out. And what you want to do now is just take a jack and put it down here just to support everything, because the control arm holds everything in. I ended up hooking the tie rod back up kind of just to hold this all in place, just so it wouldn't all flop out until I get the new one in, and then I'll go ahead and remove the tie rod and do the tie rod. So I'm gonna go ahead here, keep working, and keep you guys updated on what's next. I finally got it out. Once I broke the 18mm castle nut off the knuckle here, it came right out, and I'm actually kind of surprised that my ball joints have no play in there whatsoever. The only thing was we couldn't adjust the caster on it last time I got it aligned because the bolts were seized in here. And as you can see how bad that actually is. Both sides are basically kind of destroyed. But anyways, we'll work on real quick, take a wire brush, clean all this up. Then I'll work on getting the new upper control arm in with the kryptonite caster bolts and everything like that. Alright, so I got the new control arm in. This one kind of slid in fairly easy. I didn't even have to hit it with a hammer or anything. I think when I hit it out, the original bolt with the air hammer kind of widened this bracket a little bit, but that's okay because when you tighten this, it'll pull it all back together. But as you can see, we got everything back in. Like I said at the beginning, I was very careful not to knock these guide pins out here. And now we're basically good to go. And also too, when you're wiggling this in, just make sure you don't rip your fresh ball joint right here on your knuckle. Make sure that's kind of pushed back enough. So now I'm going to take this whole assembly, rotate it forward, and get the new castle nut put on and get it through the knuckle here. Alright, so now we'll be working on getting the inner tie rod out. As you can see, kind of right in there, my finger points, there's a big bolt. What you want to do is take a big adjustable wrench like that, put it on the bolt, and twist. On the driver's side, you'll be pushing down, and you'll unscrew this tie rod, and we'll screw the new one in. So now that we got the factory tie rod out, as you can see, we have our Duramax store heavy-duty tie rods. As you can see, compared to these stock little dinky things that always break, you can see just how much of an upgrade these actually are. And keep in mind, if you do upgrade to these tie rods, you need a huge adjustable wrench to get this on. If you have a big one, my big one for this one does not fit on this one, so I have to go out and get an even bigger adjustable wrench, but we'll work on getting these put in. These boots don't really look like they're full of grease, so we'll get it in, and then I'll go ahead and grease everything up here, and yeah, we'll call it a day. And before I forget, the final thing is you want to take your new tie rod, put it up to your old one, and get it to like almost the same length. As you can see how much shorter this one is, just so you get it to the alignment shop in one piece. So I'm going to go ahead right now, thread this out to about here, and we'll get it installed. So I just looked at the torque specs online for the upper control arm, where it goes in here to the stud. They said 37 foot-pounds, and then the outer tie rods to the knuckle stud is 44 foot-pounds of torque. So I just went ahead, torqued these down. I'm gonna go ahead and put the safety cotter pin right through this castle nut right here so that doesn't back out. And then, you know, I'll wait a week or two after I get it aligned. I'll come back in here, retorque everything up, make sure it's all good, and we'll go from there. So that basically completes the install. So that's about it for this video, guys. Not a terrible install to do. It's definitely time consuming. If you have like a newer Duramax, it's not as rusty as this and been through hell and back. It'd be a lot easier to do because you're not be fighting the bolts the whole way. But having an older truck like me, of course, you're gonna run into some more difficulties with rust and stuff like that. So if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, be sure to leave it a big thumbs up. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Stop this conversation. We got no relation.